Bopping off a Los Angeles beach, bringing a new kind of rock music to America and the world, California rock. Their songs proclaimed a vibrant new lifestyle, a passion for muscle cars, surfing, and California girls. But Beach Boy Brian Wilson is now in court fighting over his new lifestyle. He says a former psychologist is saving his life, but his family says Dr. Eugene Landy is controlling it.
Brian Wilson, a musical genius behind the Beach Boys, is on the comeback trail. After years of sliding into drug abuse and a mental breakdown, he's jumped back into the studio composing hit songs.
I'm very proud of the Beach Boys, and I'm sure the Beach Boys would be proud of me today.
But his comeback is packed with controversy. It's not only brought him back into the studio, but now he's been called into court by his own family.
We all feel that he's brainwashed and completely programmed, and it all trickles down even to his music.
Brian's cousin, Stan Love, brother of Beach Boys Mike Love, believes Brian is under the hypnotic spell of Dr. Eugene Landy, a Hollywood psychologist. Stan claims Landy is controlling Brian's mind and his money.
He dictates Brian's schedule 24 hours a day. He's not allowed to go to the bathroom by himself. He does have to wear a beeper, and he has to check in every 15 minutes with, so Landy knows where he is, what he's doing, what his thoughts are.
While Landy forcefully denies all of this, Stan says he's fighting to release Brian from the vice-like grip of Dr. Landy, who's been Brian's therapist since 1983.
Stayed in my room for about 3.5 years. I was taking some drugs, you know, and I experimented myself right out of action.
At first, Landy's unorthodox therapy, 24-hour monitoring of Brian's daily activities, seemed to work.
I stayed off the drugs and come back into my own.
But Stan feels Landy went too far. Last year, Stan held a press conference to announce he was filing a petition to take over control of Brian's affairs.
I feel Brian is being held virtually a hostage by a former psychologist, Eugene Landy. I've watched him over the past 5 years deteriorate from a productive, interactive family participant to a person who has not been allowed to see his mother for more than 5 hours in the past 5 years, and who has not been allowed to spend more than 5 hours in the past 5 years with his 2 daughters. We could ask Brian. He walked in. I haven't seen him in 5 years, and he's right there.
Brian Wilson crashed the press conference, equipped with bodyguards, lawyers, and a script to give his side of the story.
I see who I want to see when I want to see them, and I'm totally in charge of my own life. I feel great, and my life is finally back on track. I no longer have a problem with drugs and alcohol.
To Brian's family, Landy is the problem. His mother and daughters, Wendy and Carney of the hip-hop group Wilson Phillips, strongly support Stan's petition. An emotional preliminary hearing was held at Los Angeles Superior Court.
At that hearing, we presented the financial overreaching aspects, the over-medication, the total dominance. Of course, Gene Landy's position was everything's great, Brian's in the best health, best shape of his life.
But Stan is determined to prove that dead wrong.
We don't approve of the psychotropic drugs, the amounts, the excess that he's been saturated with.
Stan revealed to the judge that the Attorney General had just suspended Landy's license to practice therapy because he was improperly prescribing drugs to Brian.
It was found in the complaint by the Board of Medical Quality Assurance of California that Landy gives Brian these drugs without legal permission.
The Attorney General also accused Landy of having an illegal dual relationship with Brian as therapist and business manager.
He's not a medical doctor. He would like you to think he's a medical doctor, and also his license has been revoked by the state of California to not practice psychology. He gave it up, and within a month was Brian's manager.
Stan alleges Landy manipulated Brian into making him executive producer, co-writer, and backup singer on his solo albums.
We believe that Landy does get a share of Brian Wilson's royalties, even from songs from the 60s when Gene Landy wasn't even involved. So we find that tremendously appalling, that the doctor, former doctor, gets royalties.
Brian's record company producer and collaborator on his first solo album doesn't think Brian's musical talents are being solely controlled by Landy.
Brian and he collaborated on songs, but I never really wrote with him, and I think of him more as the guy who sort of got Brian out of whatever problems he had before.
At the end of the first hearing, the judge ordered Landy's attorney to immediately release Brian's financial and medical records to the court for review. Stan hopes the judge's review of these records will set Brian free.
We're trying to get to Brian and get him on the right path so he can have some good years of his life left.
Eugene Landy and Brian Wilson refused to be interviewed by Trial Watch. Now, the next hearing in the case is scheduled for May 15th, when the judge will evaluate Brian's mental state and review the drugs prescribed to him. Financial records will also be scrutinized to see how much money, if any, is fraudulently going to Landy. If Wilson's family should win, they would immediately take him away from Dr. Landy and have Brian treated by licensed doctors.